Welcome to another community chat. My name is Kevin Tachi and I will be your host for the next 20 or 30 minutes. What is this show about? Well, the idea of this particular show is to better inform you, the community that we serve, the town of Abington. And it could be anything. It could be upcoming events. It could be issues that are being dealt with in the community, much, much more. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about an organization called Abington COPES. Joining us today, my guests, happen to be Melissa Cook and Jeff Chasen. They are board of director members for Abington COPES. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
Having us. I'm well. How are you?
Glad you made it in here on such an interesting afternoon. As Mother Nature here and there, you happen to hear some rain. It's because Mother Nature is letting loose, and that's okay. If you will each individually tell us a little bit about yourselves. Melissa, you go first.
Yes. Okay. So I am Melissa Cook. I am an Abington resident. I have 3 young children who aren't so young anymore. 6th grader, 5th grader, 3rd grader. And my sister passed away from an overdose in April 2021. So I knew there was a need in the community to bring awareness to substance use, education, prevention, and provide resources.
Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Jeff. Hello. I am a person in long-term recovery. I am a father. I'm a member of the local community. I do reside in Rockland, but I spend a lot of time in Abington and I'm proud to serve Abington COPES. For about the last 5 years of my recovery and of my life, I've devoted just about every waking moment of my day to helping other people. I do it professionally. I worked for a treatment center here in Abington for a number of years and currently work for a treatment center out in the Metro West area in Southborough called North Star. Being here is something I'm really excited and grateful to get this message out. I want to thank you for asking us to do this during Overdose Awareness Month. Next Wednesday is International Overdose Awareness Day, so it's a good time to have us out and talk about this stuff.
What would you say is the importance of an organization like Abington COPES? And of course, COPES stands for what, Melissa?
Community Outreach, Prevention, Education, and Support. I know everybody has been affected in one way or another by addiction, and being a bereaved family member, I want to be there for other family members and just be a spokesperson. So if someone else, has a family member like, hi, I'm here, I've been through this, I can help you, I want to help you. And then for me, having 3 young kids in school, I know there's so much more we can do for our kids around education, and delaying that first time use is very important. So I want to bring different programs in to the kids and just help parents in any way we can.
I'd like to add too, I received help myself in 2006 for the first time and again in 2015. Both times, Massachusetts has come, a very long way as far as, stigma goes. We still have a long way to go in a lot of respects, but we have covered some strong ground, and also access to services, right? And today, it's amazing that there are, hundreds of different options for people in this state and even in New England. You could go to the emergency room with a substance use related visit and, be visited by a recovery coach that can offer you a lot of services, and those are great. But what I've seen, in the last, decade or more that I've been, paying attention to it, no one really responds, quite like when it's a community effort, when it's somebody in the community, when someone you've seen comes to you and says, hey, I've struggled with that too, and I know a path, I know what you can do about it. That's why I'm interested in being a part of Abington COPES, is to be that person for other people, which I've had, receive similar help myself. So.
Does it feel as though, because of the pandemic, that the ongoing opioid epidemic has been somewhat put on a back burner, and folks are more worried about COVID and not realizing that things are far from done with helping folks who are dealing with addiction?
That's a great question. So just in mentioning the pandemic, that the first thought that comes to mind is the explosion in substance use related hospital visits, reports of mental health related visits to different providers. There's been a large spike, even reflected in the annual overdose, unintentional overdose death rate in the state from the Department of Health. So that has kind of flooded and really stressed out the treatment centers and different resources and places that exist. As far as your specific question goes, can you repeat it? Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
So the question is does it feel as though that society has somewhat forgotten about the opioid epidemic that was ongoing prior to March of 2020, when we were all dealing with COVID?
Yeah, I definitely observed that phenomena happening. It's a real thing. You didn't just make that up. That's definitely something that happened. And then there was a waning in staffing at different facilities due to them getting sick or just being afraid of getting sick and not coming into work. Clients needing immediate care that were also positive, for COVID, coming into different facilities. And it created a huge problem. I think, right now the climate, with COVID is that, it's certainly not over, but this immediate kind of elevated response to the problem has kind of subdued a little bit, and yeah, it's given some light to the major increase in overdose deaths in the country and in the state in the last year, and hopefully we can start to address that more collectively.
What do you think, Melissa?
Well, I do know over 100,000 people lost their lives in 2020 to 2021 to addiction, and a lot of those, I want to say the stats were as high as 70,000 had fentanyl involved in them. I do know, watching my sister through the pandemic, there weren't any meetings, and that was really hard. And then they went to Zoom, but those weren't the same. And I know the meetings started to come back in about May, June of 2021, and she lost her life in April. And I know that was, I'm not saying that's what led to her, but I know help wasn't there the way it was prior to.
Do you feel that there's still a stigmatism around addiction? Because I will say this, I think everybody is either knows somebody or is related to somebody or has had to deal with addictions themselves. Do you feel that there's a stigmatism still?
I do believe still. I think we've come a long way. And I think as long as people continue to talk about it, that will help and bring awareness, and hopefully us being here, just brings some awareness and can help break down the stigma. But I do think it still exists for sure.
And to piggyback off what Melissa said, 100% we've come, light years from where we were 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago with the problem as a whole. But there definitely still, exists. I like to say it's like regional, like Plymouth County, unreal, really, really good programs. PCO Hope really led the way in project outreach and a lot of kind of stigma smashing, initiatives and things like that. A while back, Massachusetts did State Without Stigma. That was a very popular campaign. There were billboards on 93. But it's still one of those things that, regionally, neighborhood to neighborhood, town to town, you get into these you know, these ideas where, you know, what are my neighbors going to think? What are my, you know, coworkers going to think? What's my parents going to think? What's my siblings, you know, what are my siblings going to think? And, you know, if I wanted to stress any one, you know, one message on this show tonight in regards to stigma, it's, chances are they already know. You know, they've noticed a change in your personality, a change in your production at work, you know, and they're waiting. You know, they're scratching their heads, wondering why, and they're waiting for you to come present an answer to them. And you know, if there's one thing I'm confident of in regards to how much progress we've made in our society around stigma, you know, their reaction is not going to be what you're telling yourself it's going to be. Their reaction is going to be, I know a guy that works in treatment. I've heard about Abington COPES. You know, they meet. We can get you connected with them. You know, we can go to South Shore Hospital, or we can go to the Bridge Clinic. We can find a recovery coach. We can find, you know, there's plenty of things out there if they know that you need help. If they don't know, you're just going to stay trapped in that fear.
What is the mission of Abington COPES? Can you define that? What is it that the organization is seeking to do, willing to do, wanting to do when it comes to helping the community at large, Jeff?
I mean, Melissa might be able to enlarge upon this good, but I kind of look at it as, you know, we're trying to engage the community in two fronts. In one front, you know, we want to have the ability to help, you know, people that are struggling tomorrow, today, you know, right now. You know, we want people to feel like if they're worried about their sibling, their son, their daughter, their parents, their neighbor, you know, they can reach out and be given some sound advice or a direction to go in, or maybe some directives on how they can help that person or help themselves. So that's an immediate presence that we want to bring. And then, you know, what Melissa's, you know, most passionate about and loves talking about is the second front, which is educating the newer generation. You know, going back to COVID, that removed and created, you know, pretty much 3 classes, you know, almost, you know, a whole school's worth of children that, you know, received no education on, you know, what substance use is and what the dangers are, and, you know, what to stay away from, and you know, how to help a friend if they're, you know, dabbling or doing something dangerous. So, you know, getting into the school here, you know, getting into surrounding, you know, schools in surrounding towns, having some sort of constructive presentation that we can give is something that, you know, we're not gonna rest until, you know, if it's not us doing it, you know, someone's doing it. And Abington's Board of Health, what's that woman's name?
Lindsay Wright.
Lindsay Wright.
The
Sorry for forgetting your name, Lindsay.
Public health nurse?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's amazing, and she's already began to engage, you know, current students and families. So, you know, that's a check, you know, next to Abington. That's amazing.
Well, Jeff says that there is something you're passionate about, and that is educating the younger generation. Talk to us about that.
Yes. Well, like I said, it's about delaying that first-time use, because you can, I think if you delay that first-time use, they're like 33%, I don't have the exact stat, less likely to develop a problem. So I think there's, you know, so we have built relationships within the community. I've talked to our school resource officer, and he's, you know, everyone's been great, like whatever you need, we're here to help. And, you know, I know some of the problems, a lot of the problems they're seeing in high school. So that's been easy to identify, and we're working on getting programs in. So, sorry, can you repeat the question?
No.
again?
Just but again, educating the younger generation. I'm somebody who thinks that it can never. You know, you don't want to go too young because you want to maintain a child's innocence, but you also want to do whatever it takes to protect them. And so I don't know if it's you start with mid school, which is, you know, 6th grade, 7th grade, when you go younger? Do you go into elementary school in grade 4, grade 5?
So I believe it's never too early. I mean, granted, am I going to go into kindergarten and start talking about it? No, but
No.
like 3rd and 4th grade, I feel like middle school is your bread and butter for education. And then, but there's, obviously we don't leave anybody out. High school, it's probably happening, but talk to the dangers of it and get speakers in who have lost a loved one, and maybe something like that can really hit home. And I do have to say, I've talked with a bunch of other leaders from coalitions and like Rockland Cares, Hingham Cares, EB Hope, Whitman Hanson Will, and one big organization that's helped me, Brockton Area Prevention Collaborative. Everybody's always willing to help. Like, we use this person, why don't you try using them? So it's just been great to hear what other towns are doing, and so they can help us as we get started and help us come along too.
How has it been to be able to get folks to be involved, come to meetings? What are some of those challenges that you face to have folks come and get involved?
We've had some already some great support. Abington PD has came to our meetings, visited with us, spent a lot of time talking with Melissa, the chief, as well. We've had participation and support from a lot of the local and different coalitions and groups that have a similar focus to Abington COPES that just exist in different communities. We'd love to see more people from the community, more townspeople, come and check us out and see what's going on here. I do think people need to know who we are. Like, that's what we're working on, letting the town know we're here. And then once they see us doing, different stuff in the community, they'll say, hey, that sounds cool. Like, I'd like to get involved. So we do, like Jeff was saying, we have someone from Plymouth County Outreach coming to every meeting. So that's been very helpful. Sorry. And yeah, I just think it's going to take time. But we do have, because I've been on PTO for so long, we do have some parents that are coming, and if they can't come, they reach out to me and want to be involved, and they're like, hey, whatever you need, I'm here. So
it is worth asking as to events that you've held so far and their success. And again, when we go to wrap things up, we are going to kind of touch upon the big event that's coming up on September 18th. So we'll talk about that in a few moments. But have you had any events? How successful were they? What have you learned from holding those early on, and some of the things you're going to do moving forward?
Yeah, so, excuse me, sorry. We just kind of kicked off in March, so right away with the St. Patrick's Day Parade, we were out there with a float. We were able to hand out flyers. In May, we held our first fundraiser at the Ale House, and that was a fun time.
That was awesome. That was a great time.
It was really, really fun.
Good turnout, a lot of fun.
Right, good food.
And how important is that to have a good turnout for an event that you organize for a situation like this?
So back to Melissa's statement a few minutes ago, it lets people know that we're here and that we exist and what we're doing. It creates opportunity for some conversations to occur between local townspeople, Abington community members, or the surrounding towns that show up and come. They get educated on what we are and what our goals are and what we're doing, and it creates an opportunity for them to realize, we're just regular people. I've struggled with addiction and made a big mess of my life. There's nothing really special about me in the sense that I'm, serving on the board here. But I think there's a strength in that, where it shows people that, regardless of their own, insecurities or, feelings of limitations, like, they can make a huge difference in people's lives if they show up and try and get involved. Like, it'll have an impact, it'll have a ripple effect.
Sorry. Also, we were able to partner with Abington Celebrates for the fireworks in June. So we got to be out there in front of the community. We sold slushes, and that was like...
We sold out of slushes.
Yes, we sure did. So that was good just to be a part of the community in that way. And also, opening day for Island Grove, I had a friend help me and a couple teenagers. We did tie-dye shirts with the kids, and they all loved it. And again, it's just being out there in front of families, letting them know we're here. So that's what we've done so far, and we have something big coming up. So,
well, if before we get to talking about the race and the walk, as far as planning, short-term goals for the organization, long-term, has it come down to that yet, or it's just a matter of kind of getting yourselves in a place that folks recognize you and getting resources, whether that's funding or assistance from other organizations, before you start making bigger and better plans to better get recognition for the organization?
I'd say a lot of that's still solidifying. You know, we've definitely had a few meetings where that was the main topic of conversation, is what are our short-term goals and what are our long-term goals. Some pretty lofty ideas were thrown around, and some simpler ones. And to speak on it, I'd say, you know, one short-term goal that we're aiming to accomplish soon is, you know, having a 800 number or some toll-free number that, you know, someone can see on our flyer or our website, where any time of day or night, any day of the week, they can reach out with questions, with concerns, with, you know, looking for guidance, and speak to somebody who, you know, knows how to give guidance in those areas.
Let's talk a little bit about the 5K road race and walk that's going to be taking place. This, of course, we know that last year was the last year for the Jeff Coombs road race and walk. This year it will be basically around the same weekend. That is September 18th. It's 9 a.m. and I believe literally the same location. It's the Woodsdale Elementary School. Tell us a little bit about this, Melissa.
Yes. So like you said, 20 amazing years of the Coombs race. So I knew when that ended, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, if we don't jump in, somebody else will take it. And I just felt like this was something we should be doing. You know, we got to have 50 lawn signs all across town with our name. The police department's involved. The chief himself is a runner, and he's like super into this too. Whatever he keeps saying, whatever I can do to help. I just knew it's what we should be doing. I'm very excited for it. I think we'll have a good turnout. It's going to be a fun family day. We're going to have a DJ, a couple food trucks, and bouncy houses, and just like, it's going to be good. And we're registration's open. T-shirt deadline is September 5th, but you can register up till the day of.
And they can do that on your website, correct?
Yes, and our website is abingtoncopes.org.
Okay. Anything you want to say about this fantastic event?
Yeah, if you're not, you know, coming to run or walk, it's basically going to be a big party. If you've been bowling in the last couple of months at the Abington Lanes, you might recognize the DJ. He's kind of a big deal locally. He's going to be playing some great music, jumpy houses for the kids, food trucks. You know, it's definitely something that you'll want to come and stop by and check out. If you are looking to race, we got some runners, you know, so bring your A game and get ready to to run. And, if you want to join me walking, I'll be walking with my 4-year-old and some friends.
My 8-year-old's ready to go, and she's pretty fast, so she's like super psyched for this. So
how fantastic is it that, the police chief is willing to, you get a community stakeholder who's willing to be involved with this and offering you help. along the way of this particular mission.
Yeah, it's major having the support of the police department. You know, that's what, when I thought about doing this, that was one hope of mine, that we would start to be able to develop a relationship with the police, because that's so important. And I feel we have, and like I said, a police officer is coming to every meeting. So they've been, you know, and every time I see an officer out and I'm like, hi, I'm Melissa from Abington COPES, they just keep saying, whatever you need, we're here. And they say that over and over, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Abington PD, high integrity police force, great people. Really grateful to have them involved.
Anything that we haven't touched upon before we say goodbye to our audience for this segment?
I'd like to say to those, you know, viewing, check on your friends, check on your family members. If you know someone is down, if you know somebody has a history of using substances, or, you know, maybe at the recent family cookout they got a little, went a little too sideways, check on them, you know, call them, ask them how they're doing, ask them if there's anything bothering them, ask them if they feel like they need any help, and if they do, you know, you reach out to us. You know, we're happy to help and point you in the right direction.
Yeah, just we're here, we're ready, like we're here to help you, like let's go.
Melissa, Jeff, I want to thank you so much for joining me today and being my guest, and continued success. And I invite you back after the road race to keep folks up to speed as to some of the things that you're working on and what you're doing to better educate folks about addiction and you know, how we can work together as a community.
Great. Thank you.
You got
Thank
it.
you
Thank
very
you very
much
much for having us.
You got it. We thank you for tuning into a program like this Community Chat. It's very easy for you to be able to reach out and give suggestions for future shows. info@abingtoncam.tv is the best way to do that. And until next time, have yourself a great day.